Have you ever wanted to spice up your home office to become a remote working hero? Today, I'm going to show you how my office looks like. What is the gear that I'm using, not only to produce YouTube videos, but also to remotely work well from home. So I'm going to start from my video equipment, then I'm going to show you the audio equipment, all the gears, the supports, the tripods, how I do overhead shots. Now I'm going to move on to the productivity tools, including the Elgato Streamdeck, my Intuos, Wacom Intuos tab that I use for graphic facilitation. And well, I also forgot, I'm going to show you the lights that I'm using and how I've tried to make the best I could to get a good sound out of this room that at the beginning actually was not so good. I have much more gear than what I'm going to show you today, but I'm going to show you at the end also a few pieces of equipment that I'm not currently using, but you may be interested in, like Teleprompter, for example. So let's get started. First, well, I want to show you, this is my wide angle view, and that's how my office looks like from behind. So I have my laptop here. A large screen here. Now you see the YouTube interface where I'm streaming from. Then here on the left, you have the Rodecaster Pro, that is the mixer. This is the boom arm, the Rode PSA 1 Plus that I'm using to hold the microphone, and the microphone is this one, but I'm going to show it to you more in detail later. In front of you, you see the insulation panels that I'm using to get a better audio. And then what else? You see a lot of stuff over here. Then the other thing that I have done for you today, I'm also using this camera. That's my phone on a gimbal. That's an Osmo DJ that I'm going to use to show you a little bit more around. So that's the Stream Deck, for example. That's my Wacom Intuos tablet. Very good. So let me turn this off for now. Okay, let's start from the camera. What I use for my YouTube videos is a mirrorless camera. It's a Sony a6400. That's not necessarily the camera that I always use for work, just because the webcam is a little bit more practical in terms of the position. I usually place the webcam on top of my big screen. I'll do it there. But when I want to obtain better quality, I then use the mirrorless camera. How does the mirrorless camera get the signal into the PC? I personally use an Elgato Camlink 4K capture card, but in general, you need a capture card. You need something that converts the signal from the camera and brings it to your computer. Usually this is done with a capture card and with the USB interface. Then I have two other things to show you. The first one is this one here. So I'm using a mobile phone, that's an iPhone, and I'm using it as a webcam. So how do I do that? There are multiple options to do it. At the moment, this phone here is wired. You see maybe, yes. That's the wire. It's a standard iPhone wire that goes via USB to the computer. And I'm using an application that's called Camo from Reincubate. It's free if you're happy with HD quality, but it comes at a very reasonable price if you want the full HD version that I'm using now. This is very practical because, well, I have a video, actually everything I'm going to talk about today I probably have a video on it. And if you're interested in any specific equipment, please let me know in the comments below, so we can interact in the comments, and I can provide the information in the description. This method of using a phone as your webcam is very practical, in my mind at least, when you travel, when you don't have your high quality webcam with you, and you don't want to rely on the bad quality of your laptop camera, especially if you have important meetings. I think it's very, very important to have a full HD camera that allows you also to play with the settings, with the exposure, with the contrast, with the white balance, to give a good quality image also when you're traveling. The other application of it is to use it as a second camera, like I'm doing right now here. Maybe when you work from home, you don't need a wide-angle shot. But what I find very useful a lot of time, I'm a trainer and facilitator, is to have a second camera for an overhead shot. I use the overhead shot for graphic facilitation if I do that on paper, when I don't do it on online whiteboards. And you probably know that I love online whiteboards a lot. But also if you have to show some pieces of equipment, if you're training someone or showing how to assemble something, it is very practical to have an overhead shot. Speaking of which, I'll jump straight into this tool here. I hope you'll be able to see it. So that's an arm. It's very cheap, and I bought it from Amazon for just, I don't know, $10, $20, something like this. It clips to the table. And here you can fix your phone. So that's very practical for overhead shots. Usually I'm here, so I'm sitting here, and I can draw or I can assemble things with the phone looking down 90 degrees. The third option to use, or actually the second option to use your mobile phone as a webcam is via OBS. OBS is the Open Broadcaster software, broadcasting software that at the beginning was used mainly by streamers and gamers. It's the software that I'm currently using to stream this live to you. But it can be used also to enrich or take to the next level your Zoom calls or Teams calls or Google Meet, whatever video conferencing platform you're using. You do that with the virtual camera. So it's an application that basically takes the signal from OBS and brings it to your video conferencing platform, making the platform believe that the signal comes from a camera. That's why it's called virtual camera. So basically you can produce a whole show in OBS and feed that to Zoom. So your Zoom calls then become much, much more engaging and entertaining, and you can really deliver a message with impact. I'm a big fan of OBS. I have many tutorials on OBS if you're interested in them. And on my website, you'll also find a course that I put together specific for business professionals who want to level up their remote presentation skills. Many lessons are previewable and are free, so just go to enricozamparo.com if you're interested and have a look. Maybe you'll like it. Yeah, well, I was saying the possibility was to use the phone via OBS, and I personally do that with Video Ninja. So that's a cable-less solution. It's very practical. It runs through your Wi-Fi. You scan a QR code from a website, and then the signal is sent via the internet from your phone to OBS. You read that signal in OBS as a browser source, and then the video will display in your feed. And that's exactly what I've been doing, what I've shown you before with my other iPhone on the gimbal when I was moving around. So let me try it again. Actually, I told you that a few things may go wrong, and they will, because the battery of my phone is getting low. So maybe it will turn off in a second. So this is how it looks like. The connection is not wired, and I can go around. So I'll take the occasion. Well, I'll take my headset off because my AirPod ran out of battery, so I had to use my wired ones. Well, I'll show you also the messy part, because yeah, you know, I don't have a perfect studio tidied up. You have my lights here, and at the bottom you have my friends. These are dwarf hamsters that keep me company when I work. Looking at the lights, well, since I'm here, I'm going to show you how I get this blue-pink effect. So the blue effect is with two lights. I'll get for a second away from the microphone, so I won't be speaking, but I'll show you the lights where they are positioned. This is one. And that's the other. So these are RGB lights that I use to give a good atmosphere. You see all the dwarf hamster stuff in there. So this was for the camera. So let's move on to the audio. Since I have my phone shot here, I'll show you the microphone that I'm using right now. And it's this one. That's a Shure SM7B microphone. Let me turn off the other phone. So if you're doing live on YouTube and you want to get your audio to the next level, it's a microphone that I definitely recommend. However, it's not something that I would just buy for home office. I think it's an overkill. I don't recall exactly the price, but we are in the $300, $350 range, and you can get things much cheaper to a very good quality. I first started with my iPhone headset microphone, which is already okay for home office. Then I moved up to the Blue Yeti microphone. It's a USB microphone, relatively cheap, and it provides very good quality of sound. So if you're using this kind of microphone, or even worse, if you're using your laptop built-in microphone or your camera webcam built-in microphone, which I totally not recommend because the quality is very poor. If you're doing that, well, you could consider upgrading to a Blue Yeti. It's maybe in the $100, $150 range. It's a nice microphone, nice to see, but also it performs very well for the needs of home office work. It's a USB microphone, whether this one is not a USB, it's an XLR. XLR is this kind of, where is it? This one. It's this type of attachment, and it needs a mixer. It needs a mixer to function. So let me see if you see the mixer. The mixer I have is this one. It's quite fancy with all these lights. It's called the Rodecaster Pro from Rode. And it's definitely an overkill. I bought it, well, first because I like fancy stuff. It was nice, and I use it also for other purposes. I actually I do improv theater at amateur level, and so we use it when we do our live shows, and I have multiple inputs that I can set. I have sounds effects, and anyway, I loved all this, all these lights and how it looked. And besides that, the quality is really high, but for sure it comes to a high price. And you can find if you have an XLR microphone, you can start much, much lower and get very good results. The other thing that I have is a cloud lifter. So we're going a little bit into the technical part here, but basically the cloud lifter is this one here. If you can see it. And that's because this kind of microphone, this one here, needs a lot of support to function well. So the power that is provided by the mixer itself is not sufficient, and you have to provide what's called the phantom power to increase the power of the microphone. I'm definitely not an audio expert. I'm definitely not a video expert. I'm not a nerd. As I like to define myself, I'm the link between the nerdy world and the real working world. So I'm definitely not a nerd for the nerds, but sometimes I'm a nerd for those who really don't know or don't like this kind of things. What I like doing is bringing all the nuggets from the nerdy world and making them useful for you, for business professionals, for those who work from home and want to elevate their communication and presentation skills. Okay, so that was for the microphone. Well, you see where the microphone is on. So it's a boom arm. That's very handy. And I hesitated a lot. I didn't know what boom arm to buy. Basically, well, there are many out there. I was hesitating between this, the Rode one. It's a PSA 1 Plus. And then there is also the Elgato one that is really good and that many content creators are using. I opted for this one. I like it a lot. It's very solid. You can move it away. So when you talk, when you have your Zoom calls, you can just put it close to your mouth. And then when you're done, you get it off the way. So you have all your free space to work. The advantage of using a boom arm is that it doesn't take any space on your desk. Whereas if you have like a Blue Yeti that has a stand that you have to put on your table, well, it's not big, but if you don't have a big table, even a few square centimeters of space, sorry, I speak in centimeters because I'm Italian based in Switzerland, if even a few square centimeters of space can be useful. So we looked at the boom arm. Well, what other microphone? I spoke about the Blue Yeti, this one. At a certain point, I also used an Octava microphone, which I abandoned. At the beginning, I wanted also for my remote presentations on Zoom, I didn't want to have the microphone in the shot. I thought it was nicer to have it outside so that you could not see it, but the quality that I got, even if I used a good directional microphone, was not satisfying me. And that's why then I moved on to this kind of microphone. You have to speak close to it to have a good quality, but I think that's the best I could do so far, so I'm very happy with it. Actually, there was an intermediate step, which is this microphone here, is the Rode Videomic Pro. It's a microphone that you can place on your camera, like this. You mount it on your camera, you connect it directly to the camera, and it's a directional microphone. It's very good, especially if you use your camera and want to capture audio when you're out. But still, it was a little bit too far away. My room was not very well insulated in terms of audio. So the quality, there was a lot of echo and I didn't like it. So yeah, I spent some money until I found the solution. Okay, we looked at the camera, at the audio. I'm using two tripods. They're both from Cullmann. It's a good brand. I think if you want to go to the top, the Manfrotto brand is also very known. I don't have special needs, so I just bought what I thought was a good deal in terms, good balance between quality and price. So I have one here, and the one that I'm using, let me show it to you, this one here. So that's another Cullmann tripod on which I've placed my mirrorless Sony A6400. Next chapter is the lights. This is also, well, actually, no, let me go back first, because since we're talking about audio, I wanted to show you this thing here. So you see the panels in front of me. These are Elgato Wave, or how are they called? Elgato Wave panels. I have my notes. They are modular, so you can buy, they have this hexagonal shape, and you can buy one, two, series of two, so that they cover a certain surface in front of you. I tried to get familiar as much as possible with the audio, and got to learn that a lot of the audio problems and the echo comes from the corners. So that's why on Amazon I bought this here. These are corner pieces of foam that are put in the corner, and ideally should improve the quality of the audio. So I don't know, you tell me how my audio sounds like. I hope it's good. I don't know, well, it's the first live, so I hope that the settings in OBS are good enough. So back to the main shot. So we're talking about lights. For the lights, I think this is something quite important. If you want to have a natural look, obviously when you start, it's always good, just a lamp is nice. If you don't have any artificial lighting, then natural light is good. You stand or sit in front of the window or with the light coming from a side. You should never sit with your window behind you, otherwise you look too dark. But if you want to go to the next level, then buying LED lights where you can set also the intensity and the temperature is going to make you make a very big step forward. The lights that I have, these are the Elgato keylights, have both of these features. So let me see if I still have battery on my mobile. No, it died. Okay, so maybe I can show it to you like this. So this is one. That's an LED panel. I set the temperature to a certain number of Kelvin. I think it's 5,500. That's the same temperature of natural sunlight. And then I have another key light here behind, which I'm not using at the moment. And I have a bigger softbox. This is no brand softbox, bought from Amazon. You can get it quite cheap. Because, well, especially if you wear glasses like me, lighting can become an issue if you don't like the reflection on your lenses, and nobody likes the reflection. It's okay to have it to some extent. People understand that you have glasses and you have lighting in front of you. But if you have very strong and very narrow source lights, then the reflection can be very distracting for the audience. So that's why it's important to have lights that you can position in a way that the angle doesn't hit your glasses, and that I have a soft box that is big enough that even if it's reflected in your eye or on your glass, then it's not too disturbing. That was for the lights. Okay, what else? I'll move on to probably what's one of my favorite tools, and that's the Elgato Streamdeck. It's this guy here. So here, now you see I have 4 keys that I set up for my live. Very simple. With these keys, I'm controlling OBS. So if I press here, I went to the first scene. I didn't know which key I was pressing. So you started hearing the music again. But basically, the Elgato Streamdeck has a set of LED keys like this ones. So there are 15 in this size. There are different sizes. There is a mini size, and then there is a large one. And these LED keys are all customizable. So they're not fixed to the 4 that you're seeing here, but you can link them to any application or any action that you want to automate on your computer, so that you can do it by typing one of these keys. Also, you can set different profiles. I'm not changing the profile right now because otherwise I'm afraid that I'm a little bit nervous and I don't want to mess everything up. But basically, you can set as many profiles as you want. So you can have a profile for your Zoom calls. You can have a profile when you're working on your Word documents, another profile when you're working on, navigating your folders and so on. So what the Streamdeck does, it basically links an activity or multiple activities to a key. To make it simple, you want to copy on PC, Control-C, and then you want to paste, it's Control-V. Instead of typing on the keyboard Control-C or Control-V, you could define this hotkey on the Streamdeck and have a key that says copy. Whenever you hit that key, it's like you would be doing Control-C on the computer. Obviously, this it doesn't seem so fancy. Control-C, you can do it on your keyboard, but there are a lot of other actions that, if automated, they can make you save so much time. For example, I have a key to open my download folders because I'm downloading a lot of stuff. I just type there and the download folder opens. I don't have to go to my file explorer and then search downloads. I have another key to mute or unmute on Zoom, another key to share screen on Zoom. And also steps, when you need to do multiple steps, for example, turning on a certain software and then activating a certain tool in the software, the Streamdeck allows you to build a series of commands that are summarized in one key. So when you hit that key, the Streamdeck does all the steps for you. I was thinking at the beginning before buying it, okay, it's a nice tool, I'll buy it just because I like this kind of stuff. But if I have to choose one tool that really changed my productivity at work, in my home office, this is the one. The more you use it, the more you appreciate it. The concept is very simple. It's just short keys, hotkeys, but the use you do with it is really, really great. So if you don't have one, I highly recommend you get it. Then the next tool, since I had it, I showed it before to you. That's what I used to have my third camera shot. So my phone that now died. That's an Osmo gimbal. A gimbal is basically a tool like this, where you put your phone and it basically stabilizes the phone. So if you need to take shots while you're walking around or you're outside, so if you don't want to hold your phone in your hands because you know that the shots can be very shaky, this thing here stabilizes the phone and makes the movements very, very smooth. With these keys here, there's a joystick and you can rotate the phone, you can change the view, use the back camera or the front camera. So maybe not extremely useful for remote work unless you have specific applications, but I wanted to show it to you. Let's now move to one of my other favorite tools. These are the drawing tablets. So I have a Wacom Intuos M size tablet. It's associated with a stylus. It's connected through USB. And basically what it does, you can draw on a tablet and the drawing will appear on screen. I think there are two ways you can do graphic facilitation on screen. One is by using this kind of tools. The only thing here is that you have to get used to draw on a tablet, but not look at what you're doing. Instead, you have to look at the screen. So there is a disconnect between your hand and your eyes. At the beginning, it may be a little bit difficult, not difficult, but it may require a little bit of practice. But then, after a couple of times, it's very easy. And this is actually the situation and the option that I prefer. The other option is to use a tablet like the iPad and connect the iPad to your computer. You can do that, for example, wirelessly with an application that's called Let's View. It's free. I have a video on it if you want to check it. Then you need a pen, a stylus pen to draw on the iPad, and you look at your iPad as you draw, but your iPad screen is mirrored on your computer. Be careful on what tablet you use and what stylus. In my case, I have an old iPad, an old iPad Air 2, but the Apple Pen doesn't work with it, so it's not compatible with version 1 nor 2 of the Apple Pen. So I had to buy a compatible pen, and I went for a Wacom Bamboo Fineline 3 pen, which works very good. I use it, but I prefer using my Wacom tablet, so the first tool that I've shown you here. In which applications I use it the most? When I use whiteboards. I'm a big fan of whiteboards. I have lots of videos on it. I've been using for a long time Klaxoon as a whiteboard. Recently, I've been using also quite a bit Miro, but there are many others like Mural or Microsoft Teams now. Zoom also has its own whiteboard. I think it's a really nice way to communicate and also to get things and work done in a team. Okay, so that was the tablet. One thing that I'm not using, but I want to show you is this one. I don't know if you know what this is. Let me see if I can open it. It's a teleprompter. What's a teleprompter? Well, you put this on your camera. So the camera comes here. And you basically look at the camera. You put your phone here with a script. And the phone, the phone screen is reflected into this glass. So you can look at the camera and at the same time read your script. This makes reading a script much more natural. Usually if you have your script on the screen of your computer, you realize that the person is reading and is not talking to you on the other side, because we know that we can give the impression of talking directly to someone if we look at the camera lens. Now I have my screen, my large screen is right below my camera. And if I look right below to read it, well, you realize that I'm not looking at you, but I'm looking down. A teleprompter avoids this issue and allows you to read a script naturally while looking at your audience. So I haven't used it so much. I bought it actually for my YouTube videos. At the beginning, I was thinking, okay, I need a script. You can hear that English is not my native language. So I wanted to have a script and to feel more confident, just read things in one shot so I could take less time to produce videos. Still, I didn't like it so much just because it didn't come out so natural. So I prefer doing it in another way. But let's say you have to do a Zoom presentation and you have some complex text to read. Well, this is a good solution, and not necessarily you need to read word by word, but you can also have your notes in there. And there are apps, I don't recall now exactly the name, but if you're interested, please let me know in the comments and I'll write it in the description below. There are apps where you can insert your script and that recognize your voice. So when you talk, your script is moving with your voice. So you don't need to scroll, but you have the script moving on. And that works also with notes. Anything else? Well, two last things. Going back to the cameras, this is a no brand Full HD camera. Is it good? No, not at all. But I use it quite often for my informal Zoom calls. So you don't have to be very fancy with lights and with camera. As long as you have a decent natural lighting and a decent Full HD camera, I think you'll be good. And then I have another camera that I'm definitely not using anymore. I don't want to make bad advertisement here, but it doesn't fit the purpose of recording videos. This is a Canon G7X Mark III camera that has two main issues for me. The first one is the autofocus. So it kept autofocusing and very slow and in a bad way, and it was very disturbing. But that, maybe that's okay. The other big disadvantage is that it doesn't work with an Elgato Cam Link. So I can't connect it to the computer to have a full HD signal. You can connect it to the computer via USB and use the Canon app, but the quality is only HD. And also, I believe if you're connecting it to the computer via USB, then you can't use a phantom battery to charge it while you're streaming or while you're using to present on Zoom. So the battery, if you're live, will go down very, very fast. So for me, if you are either a content creator or you want to use a camera as a webcam, the Canon G7 Mark III is a no-go. So I don't really know what to do with this camera. Sooner or later, if I decide to continue doing this live, I have to buy a new camera, obviously, because the phone, the battery of the phone gets down very, very quickly, as we've seen. That was it for my home office overview. If you have any questions, please let me know. Write them in the chat or write me a comment. I'll be happy to assist you and to share my experience. As I said, I'm not an expert, but whatever I've learned in the past couple of years, I'm happy to share with you. If you now want to take your remote working skills to the next level, it's time to watch this next video here.